What's up, YouTube? My name is Tyler Adolfo. I am 28 years old, and these last few years I have been working assiduously to try and get my life back on track. I will say that I have made a great deal of progress over the last few years. There was a time when I was lacking in hope, when my motivation had entirely abated, and I genuinely thought that my life as I knew it was over, that there was no bright future for myself, regardless of what time, effort, and diligence I put into any specific task. I was proven wrong. But I can understand why I felt the way that I did. I got diagnosed with bipolar type 1 with psychotic features. It's a very rare mental illness. It has drastic health outcomes and can significantly hamper your ability to succeed in life. Just as an example, in my case, I experienced a wide array of delusions and hallucinations over the course of the first semester of my junior year in college. And it totally derailed my trajectory in life. It turned my life upside down. I lost relationships, I lost jobs, I lost my education. And so it all hit me like a Mack truck. But someone I spoke to fairly recently said, gave a good example on my little analogy there. It's just when you actually get hit by a Mack truck or experience a physical injury, you'll get cards in the mail of people wishing you well and wishing you well on your recovery. But when it's a mental illness, when it's an invisible disability or impairment, we don't see that same level of empathy. We don't see it on the scale that we see it for physical injuries. And that's not to diminish the severity of physical injuries. I'm just arguing that maybe we should do both. So I can understand why I was in the position that I was, why I was in the abyss of despair. Ultimately, though, I needed to pull myself out of it. And over time, trial and error with different medications, I was able to do that. And eventually I was able to return to work again, and I became a shift lead manager at a local pharmacy chain. And I'm not doing that now, but I was able to save up some money, rebuild my confidence. I also was able to get into college again. And I have an update on that, which I'll share later on in this video. But the bottom line is that I made significant progress in areas where I thought my life as I knew it was over. So I want everyone here to know that even when it feels like you're down in the rough and like there's no way out, I promise you, there's a way for things to get better. Is there a way for things to get perfect? Probably not. But is there a way to make marginal, gradual, nominal improvements in whatever it is that you may be pursuing in your life? It's possible to rebuild. It's possible to recover. It's possible to recuperate. It's possible to be confident and to love yourself again. And that's what was so hard for me to learn and come to terms with again. Because it's something I understood before, but after this episode, it just robbed me of motivation. Nonetheless, I persisted. I adhered to that Calvin Coolidge wisdom: nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. And I strongly believe in the power of that wisdom. Lately, things have continued to improve, especially physically. I've been able to adapt a relatively consistent exercise routine, although there's room for improvement, where I'm aiming to hit 10,000 steps or more per day. In my first few weeks of doing this, I was actually hitting well ahead of 10,000 steps, and slowly I've had a gradual drop off, but I'm still hitting way more steps than I was on average per day prior to beginning this little experiment where I'm tracking, monitoring, and holding myself accountable for my progress, if I make any at all. I actually still got to post the update for today, the weight loss update. I've been doing it for a little bit now, and about to cross into the 200s and no longer be in the 300s, so I'm excited about that. But the exercise has been a phenomenal benefit in my life. I feel like I'm deriving a lot of positives from it. Fantastic way, healthy way to get dopamine. I'll tell you what, I've never gone on a walk, come home, and then felt bad afterwards. Oh man, I really wish I didn't go on that walk. Now I feel terrible. Like that's never happened in the history of history for anybody. That's how I feel anyhow. I've certainly, in my case, never felt bad after going for a walk. And it's such a basic exercise. It's not physically demanding, and yet you get a plethora of health benefits, mental and physical, as a result of doing it. So I'm aiming to keep that up. Another thing I'm trying to do is get a reduction in my screen time, and I have had some progress in reducing my screen time. It was very alarming when a few weeks ago I checked out my average screen time, and when I checked it out, it was like 6.5 hours per day, and that's just counting the screen time on my phone, looking at my phone, scrolling Twitter, scrolling YouTube, scrolling Facebook, scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok. Just non-stop doom scrolling, which is not healthy. There's no net benefit to doom scrolling, and it has a myriad of negatives. And so I don't want that to keep having a toll on me. And over the past month and a half or two, I have been able to reduce my screen time. I haven't reduced it as much as I would like. Each given week, I'm anywhere from 3 to 4.5 hours per day as an average. I think this past week was 4.5 hours per day, which is way too much for me. But it's a reduction from 6.5 hours per day, and from the weeks where I was even higher than that. And I'm grateful for the direction things are going. The best advice I could give for trying to do that is to realize that there was a time when you could live your life without knowing every single thing happening in the world at once, at all times. You don't need to know everything going on in the world. You don't need to know what happened immediately. I mean, there may be some very specific circumstances where you would, but my point is having your technology off for a day, you're gonna live, I promise. Don't quote me on that, but you'll get through it. We got through it before these technologies existed, unless you're part of the newer generation, which has only experienced this world. They don't have a standard of comparison to how things were like before the smartphone existed, or before prominent social media and video sharing sites like Facebook, YouTube existed. But a lot of us do have that standard of comparison and remember what it was like to not be staring at a screen every hour of the day. And so my best advice is to use that standard of comparison to put things in perspective and hopefully recognize that it's within your power to use things in moderation, and just believe in yourself and you can get it done. Another major thing I'm trying to get into doing again is just reading consistently. Reading offers an escape from the world. It's that good old saying that knowledge is power, and what better way to gain knowledge than through reading? It exposes you to other people's abstract ideas, to the idiosyncrasies of various authors from a wide array, eclectic range of cultures and different various backgrounds. And so that's what I want to immerse myself in, is reading, having a passion for reading. I've read anecdotes about famous people from history, ones like John Adams or Napoleon Bonaparte, who would lock themselves in a room for hours, days, and just be so locked in and focused on the task at hand, whatever specific material it was they were reading, writing about, learning about. I want to be able to not necessarily go for days, but to build up the mental stamina necessary that I will need and require if I am to go into the field of law, if I am to become an attorney. These are things I have to become accustomed to, and I want to build up that mental fortitude in order to make things happen. And it doesn't happen overnight. If I wait till I'm an attorney, then I'm going to be overwhelmed, I'm going to be overburdened, and I'm probably going to expose myself to failure. Whereas if I gradually built up my mental fortitude over time by developing strong routines and following and adhering to the patterns that I've developed for my behaviors, then the probability of my success will be significantly higher. Altogether, all of these things, the exercise, the reducing screen time, the reading daily, kind of forms this trifecta. And the overarching theme of this trifecta is, wow, I'm messing up my words a lot here. I guess that goes to say if you go a long time without making YouTube videos, you're not going to talk as well as you usually do. Doing my best, folks. I'm doing my best. But there's this trifecta. And the overarching theme of that trifecta is having a sense of purpose. I'm going to say that again. Having a sense of purpose. It is one of the most basic human desires to wake up and feel like there's more to the world. There's a world out there, and I'm not it. I am part of it. And I can become a part of it and change a part of it and make a difference in part of it, but I am not it. There's more to the world than just myself, and having that outward perspective is important. Being able to look at things and put them in perspective, look at things at a micro view, a macro view. Having a sense of purpose, it truly is something that builds the compass of our character. It helps guide us, provides us with the wisdom and guidance necessary to navigate the challenges and triumphs of life, to persist through the failures and manage our burdens, to enjoy the highs and ride the waves of success when we have our triumphs, when we have those periods of high. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be ebbs and flows. No matter what you do in life, no matter where you go. I intend for that to rhyme, but I knew I was on the path to rhyming, and I was just like, oh, this is going to rhyme, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say, whether it rhymes or not. What am I doing right now? Well, I talked about the general ideas of things that I'm trying to apply in my life, and here's the end goal, the outcome that I want out of this. And it's important to me because the outcomes for people with bipolar disorder are not all that positive. Only about 58% of people with bipolar disorder will get a high school diploma or GED equivalent in the course of their lifetime. Only 16% will graduate with a bachelor's degree. Less than 3% will get a graduate degree, a master's, or something else. The numbers are staggering. 20% with the condition take their own lives. I've been perilously close to becoming part of that statistic on numerous occasions. And I'm deeply fortunate and blessed that I'm still here today. But I just think about those outcomes in context of what I'm about to say because they're intertwined, they're connected. And that is, it is a short-term goal of mine to finish my bachelor's degree. I will say, I'm not going to go into depth about why now, maybe at a future period, but I am going to be transferring colleges again. I'm going to be going to an online college program that's exclusively online. And I'm going to get a bachelor's of business administration. I'm going to be able to knock it out in a semester, which is fantastic. And the wonderful thing about it is I'll be able to graduate spring of 2027, and I'll have a bachelor's degree at age 29. I could have it at a much younger age, but it's not about coulda, shoulda, woulda. Unfortunately, things happen in life, hiccups happen, burdens happen, obstacles emerge. But I've overcome them, and I'm here, and I'd rather be 29 with my degree than 29 without my degree. And so that's the kind of mindset I'm thinking. I'm not thinking in terms of, oh, I should have had this done already. I'm thinking, wow, I'm so close to the finish line. Once I have that bachelor's of business administration, I'm considering then going for a master's degree. And I'm not sure if I want to do like a master's of business or a master's. There's a degree called like organizational leadership, and try to work my way up in the business world, build some stress tolerance, earn some much needed finances in order to fund my extravagant lifestyle. That's a joke. I live in poverty, but you get the point. All of us live an extravagant lifestyle in this world economy, let me tell you. That's besides the point. I digress. once I've built up that stress tolerance, I can decide if and when I want to pursue a law school education. I don't want to go from undergrad straight to law school. I really don't. I want to get some much needed experience in the workforce. And from there, I can decide if and when law school is a viable, reasonable, attainable, practical goal for myself. So I'm keeping my options open. I'm not catastrophizing. I'm not thinking in terms of black or white, linear thinking. It's this or that. It's law school or bust. There's plenty of other opportunities and options out there, including for people with bipolar disorder. There's so many people with bipolar who have been successful, and I know that I can be one of them. So I just shared a little bit of my short-term and long-term plan in terms of education. Of course, my other ones include losing weight, becoming a more knowledgeable and educated person through reading, and not being so reliant and addicted to technology. And I think all of these things are achievable, possible, and would be very meaningful and impactful if I were to achieve them. And they will be when I do achieve them. Well, everybody, I just want to provide this life update, kind of talk about how I'm trying to get my life back on track. I shared a little bit of my background and story just for those who might be new to the channel, and I know a lot of you have heard me kind of rehash this over and over again, so I'm trying to devise ways to not tell a different story, but tell the story a little differently each time, and which experiences I highlight, which ones I emphasize, and to try to switch it up that way a little bit so I'm not putting everybody through the same monotonous, garrulous rant or diatribe every time. I always start these videos and I go on my spiel. No edits, no cuts, raw. First cut is what I post every time, no matter what. Because I want that authenticity. I want this to feel as real as possible. And I appreciate those of you who subscribe to my channel and appreciate that type of content, because there's not a lot of people who do in this day and age. I feel like we've become so accustomed to short-term content and people's brains are really just fried. Our attention economy has rapidly declined. It's plummeted. And people just aren't able to focus on long-form anything these days, really. And I know that's a broad generalization, but my argument would be just look at people on their phones. It's like a zombie apocalypse, right? And I confess that I am a zombie, and I'm trying to cure myself of that zombie virus, so I can be normal again. Well, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Tyler Adolfo. Feel free to comment down below, like the video, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that more people can see this video. Love, light, and tranquility to all.